The purpose of this program is to recognize and honor our students for their character, love of learning, commitment to academics, in addition to their involvement in school and community activities, and their ability to overcome difficult life circumstances. And they do this all in a setting that honors God, our country, family, community, and free enterprise. So again, now for the portion of the program that we're here for. Students, we want you to stand up on the podium and tell us about what your future plans are, what you provided to the community, what you plan on giving back to your school, home, community, what you have done or what you have accomplished and overcome to be chosen as a Student of the Month. And I'll tell you, it's not easy to get up here and tell your life story or your difficult challenges, but it does something to all the adults and all the other students here in this room. It shows us that certain things can be overcome with perseverance. And every month, the adults that come here and leave, we leave with a sense of humbleness and a sense of power to face our day and our challenges. And we owe this all to the students that are here today.
I'm going to let everybody get up here first. What's significant about all of us coming up at one particular time is that at Banning High School, the home of the Broncos, where I'm the principal, Matt Valdivia, it is all about family, and that's important, and how much it takes every one of us significantly to raise every child that walks through our halls, through our classrooms, and through our buildings. And that happens at Banning High School. We're establishing a culture and climate that is basically founded on positive relationships and building those. Everything else can thrive and succeed when we have outstanding relationships. So that's what makes us Broncos strong. But an example of that is one young man that we have today who is so dapperly dressed. Wow. I was going to ask him for an autograph because he's so sharp. But Feliciano Villegas is our office aide here at Banning High School. He's a 12th grader at Banning High School. Does so many things and is involved in a lot of activities. But he is a quiet, silent, but strong type. And what I mean by that is that he carries himself with a lot of confidence, and I think that's continuing to build within him. The office staff, especially our female employees, just love him, as you can tell. And he does everything that is necessary for his position each and every day. So we are encouraged by that. And to tell you more about this young man is his nominating staff member. That's our counselor, Mrs. Janelle Polter.
Well, at Banning High School, we have a process for picking our Student of the Month, and it starts with our principal, who sends out a notice and asks everyone to nominate a senior at Banning High School. And to nominate the senior, you have to write pretty much a long blurb of why you think this person should be nominated. Then he cuts and pastes the pictures with the blurb that everyone nominates and writes about the student, and then sends it out to the whole staff to select. And Feliciano, when I nominated him, I'm not currently his counselor. Mr. Filtakis is his counselor because of his grade level. But I knew who Feliciano was at school. I just knew who he was. I really never was that close to Feliciano until he became our office aide. So this year, I got to know him a lot more and found out that the person that he was. And I can tell you, as an office aide, they get vetted to be able to be in that position. They have to go through an application. They have to go through an interview. And they have to show that they are not only a good student, but have good moral character to be able to get that position. Now, sometimes, as you know, as seniors get into their senior year and they've had all of these great attributes, sometimes as a senior they can have a little senioritis, and so even though they go through great levels, they can have some challenges, we'll say. But Feliciano came to our site, and he has just been gung-ho in the position that he has as our TA. Now, when I first met him and I started talking to him and asking for his help in different things, he is the first person to, okay, what do you need? I'll do it. It doesn't matter if it's raining. He'll go outside and do whatever I need him to do. And he never complains. complains. He always is very positive. He always just does what he needs to do. And I was talking to different people about Feliciano, and they just rave about him and all of the great qualities that he has and all of the character, his great character, personal character traits that he possesses. And one of the things that I noticed about Feliciano is that everybody loves him, but he kind of gets lost in the middle. Do you know what I mean? He's one of those students that if you brought it to everyone's attention, he is a great guy. But he kind of gets missed for all of the accolades of everything, and he doesn't need a lot of attention because he does everything he needs. So he's not a student that people worry about, but he's kind of in the middle, and that's the way I saw Feliciano. And I thought, he is a great person that everyone really recognizes, but he doesn't put himself out there to be too noticeable. Do you know what I mean? You just don't have to worry about him. But he is a great, incredible guy. He's a very humble person. When you talk to people, he does not take any kind of accolades unless you kind of have to thrust it on him. And he is a type of person that if he doesn't earn it, he does not take it, I found out from different teachers and his peers. So it's really important to acknowledge him as being the great person that he is. And I'm proud that the moment that I nominated him, everybody else decided, yes, he is the representative from Banning High School to be our Student of the Month. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for coming this morning. My name is Feliciano Villegas. I am representing Banning High School. It is an honor to be here representing Banning High School and being Student of the Month. First of all, I'd like to thank my family for always being there for me when I need them the most. They've been, they'll always be right there for me through thick and thin, motivating me to always do my best. I will always be grateful for my family because they always had a roof over my head and put food on my table no matter what. They tried to give me and my brothers everything, and I will be grateful and thankful for my brothers and sisters because no matter what, I know I could depend on them at the end of the day, and they will always be there for me. My parents have always taught us right from wrong and the art of respect, and that's another thing I'm grateful for. I would also like to thank my friends because we're so close and we've known each other since childhood, and I'll always be thankful for them. I feel like my family and friends are what make me the person I am today. And then I'll also like to thank my teachers and staff that I've had throughout my years of high school. Without them, I would not have the opportunity to give this speech. I would like to take the time to give a special shout out to Mr. Aguilar, Ms. Helmuth, Ms. Patino, my principal, Mr. Valdivia, my counselors, Ms. Poulter and Mr. Takis, Angelica, Stephanie, and Alexa, and Ms. Vicky for always keeping me on track and focused. The impact all these people have made on me will help me achieve my goals for the future. My goals for the future is to attend college. I would like to go for engineering and construction as a backup plan. After college, I would like to pursue my career in law enforcement to protect and serve the country. I've always been intrigued in law enforcement ever since I was a little kid. I would like to become a sheriff and then make the transition to a DEA agent. The reason I want to take this route is because I would like to try to make the community a better and safer place. I know that this journey will not be easy, but that's what motivates me to take it. I know that there will be obstacles that will try to block the path, but I will overcome them. Even if that means failing several times, I will keep on getting up and never quitting. Quitting will not be an option, and I will stay relentless on this path. Thank you all for coming, and thank you for your time.
Hi, good morning, everyone. My name's Alberto Jasso, and I am a cousin of Feliciano Villegas. I just want to thank everyone for being here in attendance. I'm also a former Banning High School graduate, so I've been through this path, but I'm really proud of my cousin. I've always, throughout my time as I've gone through school, and so he's always shown dedication, interest. I remember that I always used to invite him over to my college dorm just to spend the weekend, and I would show him the opportunities that I'm able to obtain because of the pursuing education. And throughout this time, and even today, I still tell him, like, hey, if you ever have any questions, or if you ever just want to, talk about college or anything like that, I'll be here to support you because I know what it's like to be a first-generation college student. So I'm very proud of him. I know my aunt, uncle, his brothers and sisters. He comes from a very big family, but he's always there. He's the family nucleus, the one that keeps everyone together. The best way I can describe Feliciano is that he leads with silence. He's not the type that will be up in the front taking recognitions and so on, but he'll be the one that's there, and he stays resilient. And I do believe that, like the Reverend said, he's not running to the tape, he's running through the tape. And I'm excited that today was his first public speaking opportunity, and I know it will not be the last. And I'm very proud of him. And I also want to thank my aunt who's here, and I think she deserves a round of applause. And his sister as well, Priscilla Villegas, who's also a Banning High School graduate. So thank you again for your time, and congratulations to all the students.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Melissa Lee, and I'm the Dean of Students for Coombs Alternative Ed. And again, I'm here today representing our Banning Independent Studies School. We are here today to recognize our Student of the Month, Diego Garcia. And unfortunately, Diego was not able to join us this morning. It was all a little overwhelming for him, but nonetheless, we want to speak on his behalf and recognize his accomplishments. So it is my pleasure to introduce his nominating teacher, Ms. Andrea Angulo.
Good morning. The first thing that comes to mind when I think of Diego is he's very, very humble, and he's very, very friendly. So I've known Diego for a while, but this is my first year being his teacher. And his smile is just so big and beautiful and contagious. And a lot of students that come to independent study, they may not be very social, and sometimes they're a little bit nervous just being in the classroom. And Diego always in just the most natural way just makes them feel so comfortable, and he just reassures them that it's okay, you're not the only one that's struggling with that question. And he will just smile at them, and they might have been looking a little bit down when they came in, and when he's around, you can just see that the whole atmosphere and energy in the room is just that much more positive when he's around. And he's very, very humble. He didn't think that he deserved this award, and I kept on trying to tell him, no, you really, really, you earned this, you deserve it. And I just want to recognize that he's just such a good person, and I know that he's gonna do very well in his future.
So here to accept the award on his behalf is his uncle, Tim Hilliard.
Good morning. I know Diego wanted to be here. Unfortunately, his better mind got a hold of him and he couldn't make it this morning. But last week he was going over his speech and showed me a few of it. He had a pretty good marked up. First and foremost, I want to thank his parents, Heidi and Jimmy. They pushed him to do a lot within his schooling. He's come a long way, coming from the high school, going to New Horizons, wanting to graduate and finish, so his decision was to go on to New Horizons. With his decision more to succeed with himself was to transition into independent studies this past couple months, so he can officially walk with his class back at the high school in May. And I know he's really pushing right now. We're practicing to get him for the ASVAB test, to get him in test for the Army. and everybody else. So we're trying the best we could to get him on. And Diego is very strong, very quiet. He's been that way his whole life, but he tries his best to help his family, his little sisters and brother, excuse me, as well. Just tries all he can to do everything. Like I said, he's very honored to get this award. The way it was presented to him a few weeks ago with Mr. Sanchez, came up to him, pulled him to the side, and asked to speak to him, which freaked him out in the first place. Anybody freaking Diego out, talking to him just puts him in a position. And so Mr. Sanchez said that they put his paperwork through a program and found out that Diego's been plagiarizing his work. And Diego started, freaking out, and I don't do that. I do my own work. I don't know what you're talking about. And so Sanchez said, okay, well, we're gonna have to take this to the board and remove you from the district, unfortunately. And so after Diego's freezing up on him, he said, no, Diego, we're just, what we came to do with you today is present this to you. Congratulations, you're Student of the Month, and Diego has some things to say and wanted to go after Mr. Sanchez. Diego's a little bit taller than me and skinnier, but, exactly. But he was very excited, came up to me. I'm fortunate to be head security at the school. Uncle Timmy. I was like, what happened? He told me the story. I'm like, man, I probably would have swung. Being on that aspect, because he's very prideful in his work and what he's doing. And then he showed me his award, and unfortunately, I myself am a graduate of Banning, all the way through, my family through and through, and unfortunately they didn't have this program. I probably wouldn't have got it anyways, but nonetheless, very proud of him. And so at that time we FaceTimed his mom, who was at work, Heidi, and she was crying. She was happy that her son is going there to do it, and we're pushing him to come here today. But he is very happy, and just wanted to say thanks on behalf of everything. As well, Grandma, my mom, Miss Vicky at the high school, was happy to be here. She's helped with a lot of his growing up, as most grandparents do nowadays. But like I said, on thanks to part of Diego, thank you for everything, and hopefully he'll continue his work, and he will be at the high school to graduate and walk with his class in May. Thank you.
Okay, I am Diego's grandma, and I'm very proud of him. Diego's come a long way. He's had speech classes with Miss Pilgrim. I think that's why he's a little hesitant to come. He's a good kid. He loves his little brother and his little sister. He is just a kind, humble kid, and you can always see him smile. But, he never wants to be noticed. So this was a very wonderful gift to him to be awarded at New Horizons in Independent Study. He loves his teachers there. It is a wonderful school. But he loves golf, so that's why he went to Independent Study. He wants to walk, if he could, with both, if that was a possibility. New Horizons and Independent Study, he blossomed. He found himself to be more confident, and I thank that ability for our district and all districts to have a program like that. I've been the secretary there. I've seen the kids grow. I know what they go through in their adversities. He's just a great kid, just like all the other kids there and at the high school. So thank you on behalf of Diego Garcia.
Good morning. I'm the proud principal of the 21st Century Learning Institute in the beautiful Beaumont Unified School District, and it is an honor and privilege for us to celebrate the achievement and accomplishments as Osbaldo today. This young man, when I think of him, Michael.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, you're okay.
I don't know where you want me to go.
The first thing I think is smile. And I know we just talked about smiling, but I recently met him through this process, and whenever I see him, he has this energy and spark that just makes you want to smile, be happy, find joy, and he spreads that to others. And he has such a bright future ahead. And with that being said, I'm gonna let his nominating teacher, Ms. Laura Sturman, tell you a little bit more about him.
Good morning. I first met Osbaldo last year during state testing. He wasn't my student yet, and I had a room full of kids all looking kind of dour because they're there for testing. But you look over at Osbaldo and he's smiling and he says, "I'm glad to be here." It's like, wow, there was just like a light shining from him that he goes, "I'm looking forward to this." I thought, wow, what a great kid. And he's so positive. And then next year, I found out that he was my student, and I was so pleased. He came into my office and he said, "I want to find out what I need to do to go into the medical profession." He goes, "That's what I want to do." He goes, "I want to know what classes I'm going to take. I want to know what school I need to go, what schools I should start applying to. I want to know how to apply for the FAFSA, the financial aid." He goes, "This is what I want to do, and I want to get started." I just thought, wow, this is a kid with an agenda. He's really looking forward and thinking about what he wants to do after high school, and I was so impressed. As I got to know him, we work one-on-one. He's an independent study student, so we meet every other week and meet one-on-one. I realized, if I'm ever in a hospital or need a nurse or a doctor or a medical professional, this is the person I want by my side. He's just so kind and so intelligent and so interested. It's just so positive and caring. He's just a wonderful kid, and there's just a light shining from him. And that's why I'm so happy to be here, and he was just such an easy choice for me to make when I was asked to nominate a student. And thank you for being my student, and I'd like to present Osvaldo.
Thank you so much. Okay. I was nervous. Okay. Let me just bring out my notes real quick, sorry. Okay. Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing? Well, you guys know my name is Osbaldo by now, and I'm here representing 21st Century at Glenview High School. I would like to begin by saying I am thankful to be here today, and thank you for the beautiful event that you guys planned today. And I'd like to thank two incredibly hardworking women, Ms. Sturman and Principal Carr, for seeing something special in me and select me to be Student of the Month. It has definitely been a great overall feeling. Life has always faced me with new obstacles to conquer, and realize life isn't rainbows and sunshine. Last year was the beginning of a journey I never knew I would grow so much from it, and started second period when I was sitting in class during work. I started to feel intense pressure throughout my whole body, building up, and I didn't know what these feelings were, so I waited it out and not wanting to cause any attention to the situation. I later talked about the experience with my mom, and she had told me it was likely anxiety, which is something I never had in the past. And the days went by. Sorry, guys.
Take a deep breath, man.
I later, this is what part I'm on. With my mom, and she has told me it was most likely anxiety, which is something I never had in the past. And as the days went by, school started to become an issue with random anxiety attacks that would start to make me question a lot of things, such as my schoolwork, my interactions with my teachers. I'm sorry, guys. This is my first time ever doing a speech, so it's pretty emotional. Where was I? And if I wanted to remain in public school, in November, I decided independent studies was a good strategy so I could focus on getting myself back on track. As the year went by, it was going well until I started to realize friends aren't really caring about our relationship anymore. It's definitely been a difficult switch from hanging out with friends every day to nobody, and it made more issues pop in my brain. And at this point, I was just very confused on what my values in life were, and it began to put me in a worse place where I began distancing myself from my family and started to sleep in and not wanting to go out. Months passed, and I started to think about what was next in my life. and I didn't want to feel this way anymore. I started off simply just buying a gym pass to feel overall good and attempt to motivate myself. I also started to open up about my feelings to people that I felt comfortable with, and it brought a lot of perspective to my life. I realized it was okay to feel these things and I didn't need to dismiss them anymore. I told myself for senior year I would try my best to bring out the best in me and grow from my previous year. I luckily got my Mrs. Sturman as my teacher, and I remember being so happy on being one of her students. I could see the passion in her work and put in every appointment. She would always bring a smile to my face. She made me believe in my goals and gently showed care in the things I wanted to accomplish. I thank her for going that extra mile and defining what a teacher is, and for teaching me lessons that I would later grow from. But I also like to thank my parents who have given me nothing but the best and have fulfilled every crazy dream that I've ever had. I thank them for the lessons that they have taught me throughout this last year and also guiding me towards success. My parents have a lot to do with my career plan I'm pursuing in the future. They both have been on dialysis for more than 20 years, and it's definitely stuck with me seeing them in and out of hospitals. I've seen nurses treat my parents like family, and that is something I want to be able to do to other families. I want to bring smiles to patients that are going through hardships. I plan on going to community college and completing my main courses and entering a nursing program and build myself up from there. It's all talk in the works, but I'm excited for the future and excited to see how high I will reach. Thank you. I'm sorry I'm very emotional today.
Hello, my name is Ramon Vasquez. Obviously, Osbaldo is my son. Like all you parents, I mean, I have nothing else but to say, but all these good things about my son. He has always been a quiet person. Like, I identify him like other kids that are here, and I'm just really proud of him. I would like to thank his mom because she has actually done. I think she has done a lot more than I have. I'm pretty much the provider. I go to work. I'm not there all the time, but she's the one taking him to school. She's the one getting on him and saying, you got to do your work, you got to do better. And for that, I mean, I appreciate that from her. And I would just like to say that, he knows this. He knows this because I've told him so many times that, like he said, we both are dialysis patients. I've been on dialysis for about 20 years. And just let him know that as long as God gives me breath, he will have my support, and I will be there for him. Thank you very much.
Good morning. It is certainly an honor to be here this morning. Before I do my introduction, I do want to take a moment and just share a little bit of information that will be public very soon. State testing was mentioned in the last presentation. So our students every year go through that process, and then the results are then shared with the public on what is called the California dashboard. But that information is about to be released. Very happy to say, very proud to say that Beaumont High School and Beaumont Unified School District continue to be in the top 5 of the county in Riverside out of 23 districts. Yes, thank you. For example, our graduation rate has maintained at 94%, so we're very proud of that. Our college and career readiness has actually increased by almost 6%, and currently, well, for last year, I should say, we were at 57% for our college and career readiness for our students that graduated last June. So please a round of applause, because we're very proud of that accomplishment and continue the hard work for our district. Even though he just stepped out right now, you'll hear today of our student, Aster, definitely embodies what we call the Cougar way at Beaumont High School. By being respectful, by being responsible, by being safe, by being involved. So we're very proud. Actually, his experience at the high school has been groundbreaking, and you hear about a little bit about that as well. But let me introduce to you Mr. Alt, who is the nominating teacher, and I'll make sure that Aster can get back in. Thank you.
Good morning. When Mr. Jimenez sent out the initial request for Student of the Month nominations, I quickly honed in on a candidate. Aster made a strong impression in the first week of College English 101 when he very politely, but very firmly questioned one of my pedagogical choices. And I think he was surprised when I gave him a straight answer to a straight question. But because of that exchange, we've been able to cut through the nonsense and the layers of formality and actually get to the point where we communicate. And because we talk a lot at lunch, after school, between classes, I know that Aster has been through some stuff that would have crippled me. I'll let Aster tell you that part of the story. I want to focus on his impact on me, his impact on my classroom, his impact on the school as a whole. On a personal level, Aster has become one of my touchstones. He's one of the people I look to make sure that I'm making sense. And occasionally, the answer is no. I see the facial expression that says, come on, I'll get with it. But we're comfortable enough that he can do that and I can respond to it. On the class level, Aster is one of the most absolutely honest people I've ever met. And Aster is willing to talk about things that still make people uncomfortable, things that are still taboo. Solo is one of them, and we'll get to solo in a minute. When I had Aster come talk to my creative writing class, he shared a story that had 32 students leaning forwards in their desk, paying absolute attention. The veteran teachers in the room will know that doesn't happen very often. But it took Aster 3 minutes to own the room. All right? And then school-wide, the most important thing. All right? Aster has gone through the labyrinthine, I can say that word, process of getting Solo approved to be on campus with patience, calm, dignity. I would have lost my cool at various places along the process. But Aster realized that he was advocating for the next generation of students who would benefit from having their service dogs on campus. And he kept his cool, and he did all the things necessary to blaze the trail for the people that come after. My admonition to my students going out the door every day is be good humans. And Aster embodies that and lives it every day. It is my pleasure to introduce to you Beaumont High School's December Student of the Month, Aster Delgado.
Excuse my buddy back there. He's just as antsy as I am right now. It still holds true that man is most uniquely human when he turns obstacles into opportunities. This was spoken by the great American philosopher Eric Hoffer. As someone with various challenges to overcome on a daily basis, I've kept this saying in the forefront of all I do. The daunting task of graduation is challenging enough, and this is especially so due to my mental illnesses, including depression, paranoia, panic, conversion, and anxiety disorders. But what makes it incredibly tough is the daily threat of seizures. Thankfully, with my service dog by my side, not currently, my load is a little lighter. But it wasn't always this way. After much paperwork and discussion, I was finally given the accommodations vital to my success in my career at Beaumont, as well as my future in higher education. While this may seem like a handful, I was also informed of my mother's diagnosis of stage 4 stomach cancer this school year. I would never call this trial my own, as I could only imagine the struggle my mother is having to push through. However, I would be lying if I denied that this strike of illness was anything aside from an obstacle in my own life. Life is full of change and growth on a present, day-to-day basis. But coping with childhood traumas make keeping up extremely difficult. Healing past wounds whilst persevering through life's constant stressors is no walk in the park. I stand before you all, not fishing for sympathy, but instead with the hope that I can awaken my community to the harshness of today's troubles. I am not strong for pushing through these struggles. These struggles have forced me to evolve. Sadly, there are countless students who have had to overcome and contend with difficulties far greater than my own. I'd like to take a moment to thank my teachers, school staff, family, and friends for acknowledging my hard work and endurance. It is an honor to be able to stand before you all today and have the ability to say that Solo and I have trailblazed a way for the many service dog teams ahead of us who will also graduate from Beaumont High. Going forward, these tests of life has served as a motivating force for my future goals. As my community widens out from Beaumont to elsewhere, these lessons will help me in becoming a valued teacher and hopefully even professor. More than anything, I hope that my trials have not only become an opportunity to better myself, but also as a chance for those surrounding me to learn and grow. Thank you.
As a fellow senior at Beaumont High School and like a student of the dapper Mr. Alt here and, Mr. Jimenez, meeting Aster last year in band, which is something that we bond over, was a strange experience because it wasn't like meeting anybody else, and getting to know Aster, and I can say confidently, despite my naivety and my youngness, falling in love with him, has taught me a lot. He said that he isn't strong for the things that he's overcome. Aster's the strongest person I know. I look up to him every day. Thank you.
Apologize, I've been running with the dog. I'm sorry. Good morning, I'm Ashley's mother, and I just want to say I'm actually proud of all of you that has Student of the Month, and I'm truly really proud of my daughter. Even though she says, "No, you're not, you knew I was going to get this." No, absolutely. Aster has always been a leader since growing up, since she was 2. I think she was my leader because she would always get books and say, "Mom, can you read them for me?" I'm like, "You're 2. Don't you want to read Bambi or something?" And it was books of science, English, and just maybe for a 6-year-old. And anyways, but I just want to say I'm really proud of my daughter. And even though we've gone through tough times, we're going through it. And I know if ever something happens to me, she'll be okay. He is very strong and very willing, and I know he's going to be a great teacher. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. On behalf of Riverside County Supervisor Jeff Hewitt, we would like to congratulate all of our Student of the Month award winners. We know that it's not just because you guys have a 4.4 GPA and do all these extracurricular activities, but because of your character, your perseverance, and your drive to succeed. So we really look forward to having you guys as our leaders in our communities, and we hope that you guys come back and lead by example because you guys have such a great light to demonstrate. So thank you again.
Feliciano, I have to adjust the microphone after following my colleague, but I do because you have to hear what I have to say. So I'm going to start this morning with, I'm going to talk about my cousin Vicky, right over here, Vicky Sellers. Vicky Sellers has had over 3 decades of service, and she's on the 9-day countdown to retirement. She's been serving the Banning Unified School District for over 3 decades. So let's please give her a nice round of applause. Well, I don't know the exact number, but I know it's somewhere around there. And you know, I love to talk about how big my family is, right? I had no idea. I actually gave Vicky a ride over here. I had no idea why she was coming over here, that Diego was her grandson. I mean, that's really how monumentally large my family is. And that's not even related to Matt's side of the family. So anyways, that's a long story. But, you know, you guys, all you students, you're on the doorstep of change. Okay, you're on the doorstep of change. Much like the city of Banning is on the doorstep of change. And here's what I mean very specifically. For Supervisor Hewitt, I handle the transportation and land use elements of what I do for him. And as I was leaving work from Banning, I also teach at Banning High School. I'm a proud faculty member there. I was driving up Highland Springs to my home in Cherry Valley. And it's just a normal drive, and I know that change is coming to Banning. They're going to start building homes in Banning. And when I drove to work on Monday morning, all of a sudden I saw 6 houses. 6 houses. And it was so symbolic for me. I immediately gravitated to thinking about Councilwoman Franklin. We talked for years about when's it's going to be Banning's turn. Beaumont has all this growth. They have all the houses. They have all the stuff. Well, much like you students, Banning had to create a plan. You've got to do all this flood control stuff. You got to do sewer systems, water, pay schools. You got to do all this stuff before you have a plan. And you guys have a roadmap now in front of you. So much like Banning, the city of Banning, you guys you're on the doorstep of that change. If you don't do careful planning and invest in yourself, it's not going to turn out well. And Banning is doing some amazing planning and things like that. And the change that Banning is going to go through is going to be amazing. Just like the lives that you guys are going to soon lead is going to be amazing as well. So, Feliciano, I just want to tell you that continue with that silent leadership. I will tell you that you have a network of people in here, and you never know who you're going to run into in what aspects of life. Sometimes you're going to sit on an interview panel and you're going to think, oh my God, that person's on the interview panel. Hopefully you were kind to that person. Hopefully you're good to that person, right? Some of you are sitting in the audience thinking, yeah, been there, done that. Sat on that interview panel, wow, did we leave on good terms? I ran into your cousin Alberto. We worked at in the city of San Bernardino together, and you never know who you're going to run into. So just be kind, just like you're on the right path, okay? Work hard, invest in yourself. Diego, I would have did exactly what apparently my cousin Diego would have done. I would have skipped out. One of the reasons I feel like I do decent at public speaking because I read horribly. I'm absolutely terrified. I couldn't imagine being a high school person and doing and delivering your first speech in front of a camera with lights and all the pillars of the people of the community, and here's what you got to do. And yet, every single one of you that decided to come today, you've overcome an amazing hurdle already. I mean, it actually gets a lot easier after this. Normally, you're not going to be on TV the first time you're going to speak, so kudos. But we still love Diego, and what I would say to Diego, this is a perfect example of your family having your back. They still very courageously got up here and said, hey, we love him. Here's the good qualities, the bad qualities, and they're going to laugh about this. We had to stand up there, and you skipped out on this award, but that's okay. That's what family does. We'll joke about it, okay? And to Osbaldo, that emotion that was so genuine, that was awesome. That was beautiful. That moves people. It shows what a true soul that you have. And Aster, Ashley, how courageous. Just beautiful to set the stage for people to come behind you for whatever issues they're going through. And your family, your mom, that's beautiful. Thank you so much for being here and standing behind them. Okay? So as you springboard, hey, we're here for you. Network, and I'm going to close with this. My colleague to my left, Amber Smalley, she is actually going to be a counselor, okay? And let me tell you about the value of networking. I've been with her personally, with superintendents of schools from Moreno Valley, from Paris. We track you guys. We know exactly what's going on in your lives, all right? You're important to us. And I've been there when I've heard them say, Amber, you almost done with school yet? Nope, I'm almost done. I got 2 semesters left. She has it's really difficult to acquire a counseling job at high school, middle school, elementary school. And because of the network and the path that she's taken and the fact that we follow you guys, she's going to have a really nice job, really sitting there for us. So she's almost done with school. She's going to be an amazing counselor. So with that, remember that network. Use those certificates, build your resume, and we'll be there for you. Okay? Promise you.
Well, good morning. It's an honor to be here. I speak on behalf of our Board of Trustees for Beaumont Unified. I also speak on behalf of this area, the PASS area. And so I want to start with this notion of outside versus inside. What people see on the outside, but what's really happening on the inside. This area, Beaumont, the city of Beaumont, was featured in an article in the New York Times. It was out yesterday. I spoke with a reporter. We actually have Lynn Baldy, who I think has left. She was also featured in that article. And one of the things I want to say about it is it focused on the growth in the city. Beaumont being the fastest growing city in the state. The largest growing school district in the Southern California, the third in the state. And so it talked about it being a bedroom community. It talked about the schools. It talked about some of the things that have happened in the community. Those are all outside things. Those are all things that people don't know the details to. It's kind of like your lives, the students' lives. People don't know what you experience. They have no idea. So what I want to share with you is that sometimes the things that you think people think about you make you question yourself. It makes you think, am I a good person? Am I doing the right thing? But I'm here to tell you, your voice is important. So Feliciano, yeah, that quiet strength that you have, okay? That's a staple, that's a part of you that will be a part of you no matter what. That's strong, be that person. Live and grow into that. Coach, I know you coach for football, right? So you did a great representation of your cousin and what he goes through. So thank you for that and sharing that story. Osbaldo, let the light shine. So the comments that were made about you were about, you're always smiling, you're always happy. But when you started to talk, you talked about some of the struggles. That's an example of the outside versus the inside. And finally, Aster, obstacles into opportunity. So what I want to say to you as students and those of you here, be you, do you. Don't let anyone change who you are. You're going to have experiences in your life. Finally, this notion of nothing is wasted. As a superintendent, you deal with a lot of experiences, a lot of things that happen in the school setting, with employees, with staff, with parents in the community. And it's a challenge at times to make decisions every day. And what I try to share is that everything that one experiences has a meaning and a purpose in their life. And there's nothing that you do that's wasted. Everything that happens to you, good, bad, or indifferent, has a purpose in your life for the future. Hope you have a great afternoon. Thank you.
I just want to say, Banning, we are so proud to be here. We are a gem in the PASS area. We're growing, we're improving, and we're going to make our mark. On that, there's some things that some of our students have said, some that were not here that were said by others. Aster, you said that life's tests. There are always going to be life's tests, always. And it's how we get through those tests. When you're able to share about your life issues, that's when you've conquered it. Because it is difficult to get in front of a group of people. It's difficult to share with one person when you have a life battle or a life test. And the moment you can share with even one person, you are conquering that battle. So whether it's shyness, quietness, the crippling fear of even coming to this event, or illness, sickness, the minute you can share it, you are overcoming. You're living your value, and that those issues, those tests no longer have power over you. And just keep going. We all have our issues. We all have our tests. I wish I could sit here and say that they stop. They don't. It makes you stronger. And it may be the last thing that you want to hear, that you will get stronger, but talk about it. The minute you can speak about it to anyone, you are taking power over all of those. And I congratulate every one of you.
Thank you so much, students. Once again, remember, share your stories, empower others, even if they're not students. If it's sometimes your parents, your uncles and aunts, the adults here are empowered today by your voice. So thank you, students. I normally share a minute with Maxwell at the end of the program due to our timing and going a little over. I'm not going to do that, but I do encourage everyone to go on YouTube. Just type in Minute with Maxwell. The 2019 edition is a little better. But I get a word every day. And it's empowering, and today's word was opportunity. So just Google that, please listen to it.
My mentor John Wooden told me one time, when opportunity comes, it's too late to prepare. Hi, John Maxwell here. Welcome to Minute with Maxwell. The word is opportunity. And what Coach Wooden was teaching me was that we don't understand or know or cannot see so far ahead that we're going to see every opportunity way out front. But he did say that when it comes, it's too late to prepare. So here's what he was doing. He was saying to me, John, I can't tell you what kind of opportunities are out in front of you, but I know they're there. So if you grow every day, if you develop yourself, if you keep preparing in the areas of your giftedness, when that opportunity comes, you're going to have a good chance of succeeding. I had a conversation one day with Jack Nicklaus, and we were talking about the 18 majors he's won. And I said, Jack, if you got like a 4-foot putt to win the tournament, do you get nervous? And he said, no. He said, John, I really didn't, because I prepared. He said, I prepared. I practiced that 4-foot putt 1,000 times. And so when I get ready to putt it, it's kind of like I've done this before. Now, what was Jack doing? Jack was knowing that there would be a day in a tournament somewhere, someplace, where he'd have a 4-foot putt to win the tournament. If he practiced that day in, day out, when the time came, when the opportunity came, he'd be ready. So I just want to encourage you. Don't wait for the opportunity to come to you. Work for the opportunity. So when it comes, you can do something good about it. Thanks for joining me today on Minute with Maxwell.
Thank you again for being here this morning. Happy holidays. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Continue sharing. Thanksgiving is not the only day we give thanks, it's every day. So continue sharing and loving everyone.